Okay, so let's do the second example. And tomorrow I may put up a video of just 3 of these just for you to mix up vertex form and standard form. Oh, sorry. But I won't it won't necessarily be any new material of a lesson. It's now just you practicing graphing the two, bouncing between vertex and standard, okay? Okay, so here we go. A, B, C. All right, so now usually students have a bit of confusion when they don't see the 1 or the 0. That's when students start getting a little bit mixed up. I keep catching on my cuff. Okay, so here if you look, A is -1, B is -6, C is -10. It doesn't hurt for you to just write that to the side. I know I didn't practice that here because A is 2, B is 8, C is 5, because all 3 values were positive, and so students do not make mistakes with those. Negatives and 1s and 0s, that's where the human error kicks in. So A is -1, right? B is -6, C is -10. Okay, we need to find the vertex. Remember, how do you find the vertex? Minus B over 2A. Always, always, always when we're dealing with standard form, okay? So here we go. X is equal to minus, put the B value there, 2. I'm going to put the A value here. Okay, so substitute. The B value is -6, so -6. I should give myself more space. The A value is -1, so -1. And you need to respect the negatives. This -6 doesn't take the place of this negative in the formula, right? It has to substitute. It's that -b or -1 times the B value, or you switch. Okay, the point. Okay, so this is 6 over -2, which gives me -3. Okay, so that is half my vertex point. I now have -3. I need to find the y value to my vertex point. How do you solve for it? You substitute, right? This is a lot of words for just input, compute, output. That's it. Okay, so input, output. Take the -3, substitute it here, and I would get y -3 squared minus 6, -3 minus 10. And again, before I solve it by hand, we are, high school students. So you should be able to throw it into a calculator. Okay, so I see negative, parentheses, -3 quantity school. Oh, let's turn it on. That helps. -3 quantity squared, right? And remember, when I type the negative, it's this button, right? And then here are your parentheses. -3 squared minus 6, -3 minus 10. Now, when you're doing your subtraction, like -6, -10, I'm using the subtraction button, okay? All right, hit equal, and I should get -1. So I'm going to get -1 here, which is going to be my vertex, right? -3, -1, which is right here. -3, -1, which will also go here. -3, -1. Okay, but before all of that, let's solve it by hand, right? Okay, so I'm going to first square here, and then I'll put these two together, right? Just follow through. Okay, so this will give me +9, right? And so I'm going to get negative, and that's a negative, but the 9 is outside of it, +18 minus 10. Okay, so then now you would then first square, then you're going to multiply times the A value. And so that -1 times the +9 will give you -9. And then it's up to you. You could still write the +18 minus 10. And that gives me 9 minus 10, which is -1, which is what I have right here. Oh, I'm like way over, sorry. So -3 squared, +9, -1 times 9. Here's my -9. -3, -6 times -3, +18, -10, -10, -9 plus 18. 9 minus 10, -1. So you can cut this up however you like. Some like going really step by step by step. Some of you kind of cross and arithmetic, however you like. Of course, there's always the beautiful calculator, but you should be able to do this by hand, especially in IM3. You got to be able to do it by hand, but there is absolutely no shame. There is no shame ever in using a calculator. Human error is high. We all make silly mistakes. I do. So it's not a bad idea to practice here. Okay. All right. So what is my A value? It is right here. I have it written here. It is -1 because it is negative, right? It's going to be concave down. So because it's concave down, I need to move my elbow over. That means my vertex is going to be my maximum point. It's going to be my highest point. And so I'm going to have a max, right? Okay, my maximum or minimum point, but in this case it's maximum. And my maximum point is the same as my vertex. So -3, -1, because that is your highest point. My axis of symmetry is the x value, so that's -3. Your max or min value is always the y value to your vertex, and so that's -1. Okay, so now our table, -2, -1, -4, -5, and so we will have symmetry, right? You don't have to do as much work. Okay, now if you want to come back, if you still left it when you found your vertex and it's still there, you can go back and just type in -1. And you can just alter it. And I get -5. I'll solve it by hand as well. Okay. And then -2. -2. And there you go. And then you're going to go ahead and plot your points. I'm trying to figure out where there's space. I'll just right here. Okay, so let's do -5 first. Let's substitute. So -1, -5 squared, -6, -5, -10, right? Okay, so this is +25, -25, that's +30, -10, right? So -25, +30 is 5, and 5 minus 10 is -5. And so that works out, right? And that's perfect. Okay, so if we throw in, let me see, where am I? -3, -1. Oh, okay, so I'm in quadrant 3. Okay, so I can write here. I just wasn't sure. All right, if I let y equal -2, -2. Why throw in a -5? Oh, I plugged that in. Oh, because that's my vision. That's why. I'll plug in the -2. Okay, -2 squared, -6, -2, -10. This is 4. So -4, +12, -10. This gives me 8. 8 minus 10 is -2. There's my -2. Okay. So we do get the same value by hand. Okay, so now let's plot these points. I need space. All right, -3, -1, -4, -2, -2, -2, -1, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -5. This is -2. Oops. Okay, so here is my parabola. My axis of symmetry, we're just going to cut right through it, is right here. Dash line, right? Dash vertical line. And there it is. That is all. Okay? All right. Oh, as far as your horizontal and your vertical shift, so once you look at this, right, remember your parent graph is at the origin 0, 0, but my vertex is at -3, -1. So in this case, your horizontal shift was left 3 and your vertical shift was down 1. That's it. Okay, so when you're talking about shifting or translating, it is how does it relate to its location compared to 0, 0, the origin. Okay. All right, I will get the assignment up. Like I said, if I put up a video tomorrow, it will just be an assignment that will bounce between 2 vertex form, 2 standard form, just for you to practice. And of course, the problems will have like zeros and ones and negative ones so that you get accustomed to all the different, if say terms are missing. Okay, all right, bye.